We were here last night, and there was a Chris Brown concert across the street, and people are coming over here, busting out their tequila bottles in the parking lot, taking shots, and then walking across the street to the concert, but they did that for free. And so for us, that adds additional income because we can charge for parking. This is very rare. I don't know how
unusual.
Many. It's unusual. When you invest in a big multifamily deal like this, you don't get invited to the property. In multifamily, people don't invest and then come to the property. Your operator will never meet you at the property. They'll never walk through the property with you. They basically say, give us your money, and in 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, whatever the exit strategy is, we'll give that money back to you plus a return. Why did we buy this asset? And what are we planning on doing with it?
Yep, so we bought this asset because there's a value add component to force the appreciation and increase the value of the asset. And we'll talk about what the improvements we're gonna make are, but essentially our business plan is gonna be come in, increase operational efficiency, and also make sure that we are renovating to market and bringing the rents up to market. We're about $450 below our comps in the area. That means that each unit has the ability to go up by $450.
Is it interesting? Most people in here understand residential comps, right? It's interesting that multifamily also uses comps, but it's more towards about like individual units and rent rates.
Yes.
So you're saying our comp is larger than the other comp.
Yes.
And we're undervalued in terms of rent rate, right?
Yes. And so one thing I really love, got it? Okay.
This is your welcoming committee. Come on in.
No, come on in. You're good. You're good. Come on in.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Do you guys see why this is not common? There are 3 ways for us to make more money on a property like this.
Yes.
Right? And what are those 3 things?
So 1, you can increase your rent. 2, you can add additional income. So for example, if I am charging for parking outside that I wasn't before, that's now additional income. An amenity fee is really popular, especially on these types of assets. Some people do reimbursement for landscaping or pool maintenance, just like you would if you were at a home, you're paying for those things, so it's a fractional share of that. And then the third way is really to cut your expenses. So if I can cut the landscaping contract by 10%, that's dollars that are going straight to my bottom line.
So if you think about that, right? So there's value add, we can improve the units, and then what does that do? That attracts people to come in and want to rent at a higher rate, right? The second thing is you brought up the parking lot. And I don't think a lot of people know what that means. There's a conference center across the street. What people have been doing for years is just parking here for free. There's so much parking. This property is massive. And so I feel like half of the parking is being used. So what Vina is saying is that we're going to hire an attendant, a parking attendant. So when there's events across the street, they're going to charge $20 per parking. We were here last night, and there was a Chris Brown concert across the street, and people are coming over here, busting out their tequila bottles in the parking lot, taking shots, and then walking across the street to the concert, but they did that for free. And so for us, that adds additional income because we can charge for parking.
And if you're okay with it, I'd like to point out strategies that we're not necessarily going to do here, but that you could do. So when you guys are looking at deals, you can kind of think about it strategically and see what opportunity there's.
Let's do it. Where do you want to go first?
Yeah. I actually want to take you guys out here because I want to talk about the parking value add.
Okay, cool. Let's do it.
One of the strategic ways that you can increase income on an asset is by creating reserved parking. And why do I like reserved parking as an additional income stream? Because it's very cheap to implement, so you don't have a lot of expense, but you can get a lot of money from that and rental income from that. And in a non-concessionary time, it's a great way to give a concession to. Does everyone know what a concession is? Concession is when you say, hey, if you move in today, you'll get $100 toward your first month's rent or a free month rent. It's something you give to the tenant to incentivize them. It's an incentive to move in. So one of the things you can do with reserved parking is you can say, hey, you'll get 3 months of reserve parking free. And what we do is we'll go in and we'll reserve the closest spots to the doors. So all of those will become reserved. So now what we're doing is we make it inconvenient to park without paying 5, 10, 15, 20, whatever that dollar amount is per month. And then when you give it to them for free for 3 months, you can say, hey, If you want to add your reserved parking, it's X amount of dollars, or it'll be discounted to this amount. And once people get used to having the convenience, oftentimes they don't want to go to the inconvenience of parking further back. So that's just an easy way that you could look at a value add on a property and increase operational income with very little investment. It's like spray paint and a stencil. It's pretty easy to do.
You talked about deleasing part of this
Yes.
to do the units, to upgrade some of
Yeah.
the units. What does that process look like?
Yeah, so we were talking about it. So what it is we offer a renewal at X pricing, and we also utilize rent management and rent optimization systems. So we're not making emotional decisions. There's no risk of there being any kind of discrimination or anything like that. We have a computer. It tells us the daily or weekly or however you set it. It'll tell you the pricing of all the comps in the area, and it'll adjust the pricing usually on a weekly basis. So for example, this week, 1 bedroom, 1 bathrooms might be $1,300, and next week it might be $1,259. It just depends how many units are available in the area. So it really optimizes your ability to get the top rent for the asset. So we'll de-lease, we'll cut our renewal rates if occupancy is starting to teeter-totter a little bit, but if we're going in and renovating and bringing it up to market, then we allow for some destabilization.
What's the first thing on the property you think we'll renovate?
So the first thing that we like to do when we come in is we start getting pricing for the breezeways. So we like to have them all cleared out, pressure wash. Same with the parking lots. We like to restripe our parking lots. It's fairly cost effective to do. It makes the community look really nice. It lets residents know, hey, we're new management, we care about the asset, we're gonna invest into it, and we're gonna make sure it's a nice place for you to call home.
Sorry.
So that's generally what we look to do.
Should we go look at the model unit maybe,
Yes,
so
let's
we
go
can-
into the air conditioning.
Yeah, so this unit specifically is where everyone
Yes.
comes when they come in to
Yes.
look at what they could potentially
Yes.
live in, correct?
Yes, that's
Yeah.
correct. So this is where they'll come in, we'll talk to them about the features, we'll talk to them about why this asset's really nice. Okay, they came in and fixed that and it clearly did not work. So
There's renovations to do, guys.
Yes.
That's okay. This is great.
yes, well, so what we're looking at right now is the seller's upgraded unit.
Okay.
So this is what they would say is their top line unit. We are going in and we're actually taking this up another level. So as an example, you see this is like kind of outdated. We're gonna come in, we're gonna paint the cabinets. I think we're painting the walls, and I think we're just changing the color a little bit to bring it up to date a little bit more. The floors are really nice. There are some units that don't have hardwood or luxury vinyl. We're gonna take that carpet out. We're gonna put the hard product in here. And then if you guys wanna walk around to the bathrooms.
Ask her this
How-
question, Molly.
Just kidding.
Why would you keep carpet in the bedrooms in apartment complexes?
Yeah, so what would be the purpose in keeping carpet in the bedrooms?
1, it saves costs. 2, it's fairly standard. And 3, if you have units one above each other, you really want to reduce the noise because it's high density housing. So some apartments that we've had before, we've required like 70% of the flooring be covered with a rug of some sort, an area rug if you're on the 2nd or 3rd floor. So you want to reduce the amount of noise complaints as well.
And how many of the units look like this?
That's
right
a
now?
good question. I'll have to look at how many we have partially
But is there a
renovated.
significant amount that don't look like this that we're doing the upgrades
Yes.
to? Okay.
Yeah. Well, so even this is not what we consider renovated. This is like a half. So there's an A floor plan, which is not to this level at all. There's a B floor plan, which is to this level. And then there's C, which is what we're taking it to.
Okay.
So we're taking this up the half step, and then we're taking the other ones up the full step.
What does the value add cost?
So on this, we have about 11,000 to 12,000 allocated per unit. Pricing has been going up, so we have kind of a significant amount of contingency. And once we get in, we may not end up renovating certain aspects of the unit. Again, it's very dynamic and changing based on what the comps are doing, what the market is doing, what we can do without renovating it. So we generally right now, 11,000 is pretty standard for most of our
Renovation
assets.
budget,
Yeah.
averaging $11,000.
Yeah, when
per
it's
unit.
this,
Yeah.
we call this very light renovation. This is kind of like lipstick. We're not
Oh, yeah.
going into the studs. We're not replacing major systems or anything like that. We're really just sprucing it up and bringing it to market. Other ways that are really easy value add, other than paint, flooring, countertops. One note is you want to make sure that the area calls for granite or quartz or whatever you're putting in here, because some areas you may not get an ROI on putting those in there. You might just be spending the dollars and getting the same amount of rent. So that's something you really want to look into. You want to see what your comps are doing. Stainless steel is another one. Some units will require it. Some areas, nicer areas, will require stainless steel to bring it up to market. Other areas, just not necessary, so you don't need to do it. Washer dryers, that's another huge opportunity. A lot of units will have hookups, but they don't actually put the washer and dryers in the units. We do, because you can get about $50 to sometimes $70 of rent a month on it. Other places will send you to rent a center and they'll get the $50 to $70. So we like to include that in our plan. Washers and dryers can be very expensive to maintain. That's why some properties don't do it, but that's an opportunity for us. Other value add ideas would be like updating lighting, having nicer lighting fixtures. You can update your faucets. You can adding smart home features is a really big one, especially in those younger demographic areas where you have someone that wants a Nest thermostat. Maybe they want smart app controlled lighting, Alexas. Those are things that are relatively cheap to add, and sometimes you can get about $75 in rent for those. And so this is certainly an area where we think that they will pay for it. So what we might do is we might test 4 or 5 units to see what the result is, and then if we are seeing movement or rent from that, we might go and implement a program across the asset.
So you guys, we would provide washer and dryer in every
we're putting
unit.
another one in here. It's probably just getting
Okay.
replaced right
Great.
now. Washer. We may or may not end up changing this out to granite. It's
Okay.
very likely we do. We're gonna repaint this, and then all of the fixtures in all the units will get upgraded. This is already upgraded, so they'll all come up to this level.
Okay, great. Big master
Walk-in
closet.
closets are important.
Yeah.
Yes, very important.
All the things, all the things.
Yes, and this isn't the master. I think that's the master, actually. 'cause
Oh,
it has-
wait, this isn't the master?
No. The
But we're gonna
master
go
has
into
an
the master.
ensuite
Yeah.
inside of it.
Well, this is sort of an ensuite.
Yeah, it is. But it's the hall bathroom too.
Yeah.
So this is like the guest
Shared
area
bathroom,
too.
yeah.
This is the 2-bedroom, 2-bath.
Excuse us, we're gonna squeeze in.
Sorry.
To the master.
Beep beep beep.
All right, so then
Yes.
this makes it the
This has
master,
the
even though
ensuite.
this isn't even as large of a bedroom. though.
It's not, but it has the ensuite. So we
Yeah.
consider this is really. There's some units which will have an ensuite on both bedrooms. We like to call it the roommate plan
Okay.
because it can be roommates living in the
Yeah.
same unit. This is probably more of a family living here,
Yeah.
or somebody who works from home or has a lot of guests. This is that area. So this has the ensuite bathroom.
So I
It's a
hear
little more
Pace
private.
from. He's like, we're ready to go watch the rest of
The rest of the property, he's like, get out of
He's
here.
like, please, let's go now.
So this is like another sitting area. This will get spruced up. This is part of the
Ooh,
value
the
add.
furniture's nice though.
That'll get freshened up a little
Oh,
bit.
it's not nice to Venus style.
Yeah,
nice.
you know,
So
it's
there we go.
it's nice, but again, we want to create the ethos of a community
Yeah.
here, right? We don't want to just come in and raise rents because we want to invest into the community.
Yeah.
We want to make it better. We want people to enjoy living here.
Oh my gosh, look at this cute playground.
There is a gym here, so we are renovating the gym, yes. Yep, we have a budget for that as well.
And so when you come in and you get the budget for renovating, do you break it down individually by each individual area? So you're going to talk about the units individually, you're going to talk about the
Yes.
exterior.
Yes.
The playgrounds are the assets that you can add
Yes.
exterior wise. So
Yes.
if it were garages, you could add garages.
Correct.
Parking space, anything
Yep,
like that.
so we
yeah.
split it into interior and exterior CapEx.
Okay. So the gym is getting renovated.
Yes. Thank you.
I like the windows. I mean, what are you guys changing? What are we doing in here?
So we'll come in, we'll definitely paint.
Okay.
We'll upgrade or update or fix any
You
of
don't
the
like
equipment.
these like nostalgic stripes on the wall for gyms?
I mean-
that's what every gym does.
Totally. No.
Yeah, usually it's one color on the bottom and another color
another
on
color
top, and then
yeah.
a stripe down the center.
Yes, it's very like 90s, early 2000s.
Oh, yeah.
So what we'll do here is we'll come in, we'll get the carpeting freshened up, paint everything. These are really big, like these free workout areas. So we've been seeing like a lot of bar or CrossFit or TRX, like those are big in our assets. Some of them we put Peloton bikes.
So could one of the things that you do for a community bring in somebody that does like a yoga instructor?
We do that.
Okay.
We do resident events
Because
like
I would
that.
love that. If I lived in an area
Yep.
like this and you have a gym right in the community where you can go
Yep.
and do like a TRX
We
class.
do
or
resident events
do
like
a-
that. Some of our assets have tennis courts. We'll bring in tennis instructors.
Okay.
Sometimes they live on the property. So one of our assets, we have a lot of the Atlanta Falcons players that live there.
Yeah.
So we look for opportunities to like just do community events around that, stuff like that.